Welcome back everyone to part 3 of the Demon Conquest series. Let's go! Today we are going to cover the last levels of the 1.3 era, so let's get right into the levels. Here comes Darnok yet again with another demon level. Contrast to popular opinion, I enjoy Darnok's levels. They are pretty simple and do a good job keeping the player engaged while taking good care of the level. Now, his levels are not groundbreaking or masterpieces, he just makes enjoyable levels. I do think he is similar to Rabbidical since they both make good and enjoyable levels for the time, but Rabbidical does it a bit better. Now, as for the level, it's a very easy and straightforward level, with very easy fakes and timings, which I actually think this level isn't demon at all, since it didn't really feel difficult at all. But that's not really Darnok's or the level's fault. The level is well structured and has a bit of music sync even though it feels a bit empty at times. There isn't much more to say than it just being a simple but enjoyable level. Nice. The second hard demon in the game, and unlike Silent Hill, this is truly a hard demon from start to finish. This level isn't memory carried like most of the harder levels we have seen till now, and that is something that I really appreciate. Black Off by Black takes skill and timings to another level from what we've seen until now. Having tough cube timings and hard ship sections with gravity portals I haven't yet seen in any level except maybe from hack ones. Maybe it has something to do from the fact that this level was buffed later on. But that doesn't make this level bad. The level is actually quite well made, with pretty accurate difficult consistency throughout the level, and having gameplay that is fun while being hard, and that makes it very enjoyable. Deco wise, it's pretty black, like the title suggests, but at the end of the level it gets whiter until the very end when it becomes completely white. This gives the level a unique touch, and I really like when old levels had small details like that, such as Heaven and Hell or the Red Sun. It's not really groundbreaking decoration, but it just makes it seem like the level was cared for when it was created. To me, this level gets a well-deserved 7 out of 10. The first time I played this level, I didn't really like the level as much and thought of it just as a worse version of X-Step. But I didn't even realize there were multiple ways to beat the level. And it was somewhat fun to see those secret ways not being auto and having a unique part of them. This level is obviously inspired by X-Step, and even though I feel like it wasn't made too well, it does feel like the creator tried to make a genuine level. To me, this level feels super nostalgic and a core level in Geometry Dash history. Although I said all that, I do think this level is not good at having some major difficulty spikes, and the black and white part is something I don't really like as much. So I'm just going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Demon of Python is another old memory level, and I truly think this one is a medium demon. Some sections were quite difficult, and even though it was mostly memorization, it still had some tough timings all throughout the level. The memorization by itself is a bit frustrating, but once you know what to do, the level isn't as bad as it seems. That's just how it was done back then, and I just hope it gets better than this. The songs sync and some parts are somewhat well done, but the deco and the unbalancing just ruins it a lot. So it's another 5 out of 10 level. Okay, this level is one of the weirdest levels I have ever played. So the video you're watching right now is basically the normal intended path for the player to go, and that's what everyone did, even me back in 2022. But if you have spent more than enough time with this level like I did, you will see that there are two different paths apart from the original. Now, only one of these paths is actually easier than the normal road by itself, but the difference is very minor. The last path has a ridiculous timing that is not worth going for, but it's interesting nonetheless. The level itself is very poor, and the gameplay is somewhat dumb, so there isn't really anything much to say about the level than the different paths you can go. But the fact that it was thought out and how every path correlates with each other is very interesting to me and tells me that this level has more going for than it seems. The first time I played this, I thought it was harder than an easy demon because of some timings, but after figuring out the tricks, I understood everything. Overall, the level isn't incredible, but all these paths and weird things in the level made me enjoy it way more. I was going to place this in the trash category, but all of these interesting paths saves it, with a 5 out of 10 overall. I'm not going to show the entire level again, I'm just going to show the second path until we go back to the original path. Now, to take the second path, what you have to do is basically take all of the secret ways, and with that you skip most of the gameplay. You're still playing, but it's not as difficult as the original path. I would say that figuring out what the path is the only difficult part of this level. This path is the weirdest of them all. To get there is actually pretty hard, especially the last click into the ball portal. And this timing is probably the hardest timing in a level by far. But the reward is incredible, completely free until 70% when all the paths come to 1. Even though there's still more to the level and the ending isn't free, it still saves a big chunk. And you can see that it is completely intended since there are a few spikes at the beginning, but after those spikes the level just becomes completely free until the 70%, as I said. Death Cycles is an incredibly forgettable level all the way through. It doesn't do anything bad because it doesn't try anything at all. This is what I call a standard easy demon. A demon that tries to be like all of the rest. Generic in decoration, generic gameplay, generic everything. This type of gameplay and decoration is the standard for demon back in 1.3. And let me say before I rate this that I actually enjoy these types of level, even though they don't give me an astonished feeling of great levels. These levels are way better than the trash levels that exist in Geometry Dash. So I believe that even though this level is a bit boring and generic, they are trying to make a good level from other good levels, which is okay to me. I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. I believe this level was finished and published around 1.5 or 1.6, but the ID says that it was around 1.3 when it was made, so I'm just going to rate it as a 1.3 level. Either way, this level looks and plays horrible. I just love when the levels gives me epilepsy right off the bat. I also rebeat this because I wanted to get the coins and also because I completely forgot why I hated this level, and let me tell you, this level reminded me that in a very good way. The gameplay is just annoying to play through, especially because due to the level having a black background, there are objects that the player just can't see, meaning unless you die to it, you won't know that they are there. And to me, this is just incredibly annoying to play. It looks worse than 1.3 levels while having features of later updates, and it plays even worse than it looks. Just goes to show how difficult it was to make good levels back then, with what little they had, and that still doesn't excuse this level since we have already played some actual good levels. Sorry to say that this doesn't get an approval for me. To me, this is a 4 out of 10 and goes straight into the trash.
Times do you plan to repeat yourself?
This is the first Christmas level ever created, and I was hoping a lot more from this level. This level has some secret ways that skip a few portions of the level, like TM Super Hard Mix, but in this level the normal path is not meant to be played, because it completely sucks, and it's way harder than the secret wave. Apart from that, the level looks pretty bad, and the gameplay is just blind jumps and knowing that there are secret ways. If you don't know the secret ways, then the level is probably medium to hard demon, but if you do, this is easy demon all the way. The mirror portals in this level just makes me dizzy with all the changes and transitions, making timings way harder than they need to. It's just a weird level, which goes in correlation with the name of this level. This also earns the trash title, earning a 3.5 out of 10. This level is very interesting to me. It's not an incredible level, but it's the first level I have seen that pushed the ball game mode. To this point, we've only seen very hard cube and ship sections, but this level pushes the ball game mode, which players at that era struggled way more, and I think it does a good job at it. The problem with this level is more in the decoration. There isn't much there. There is a bit of structuring and some music sync, which fits nicely, but it's very imperceptive, and sometimes it looks quite empty. To me, this level feels more like a ball challenge turned into level, and it's pretty difficult earning this level the third hard demon in the game. I think this level deserves a 5.7 out of 10. An actual good memorization level back in the day was a really hard thing to do, and I think the Extreme Maze does a really good job on it. A lot of the fakes were really sight readable and just fun to learn, which makes me believe this is how old demons should be. Another thing is that I love the Base After Base song, so I'm going to have soft spots for these levels, for sure. There's also nice music sync, and although the level has little to no deco, sometimes it really looks like a maze, and I really like this. Other than that, the level has its flaws, but nothing too important to notice, so I will rate it a 6 out of 10. Very good level.
Stop talking.
And here we are! After 27 demons, we have completed and rated all the demons before the 1.4 update. Even though some levels had features from future updates, they were at least created during the 1.3 era, so I will count them as such. There is still a long way to go, but we are only 13 levels away from covering all of the already completed demons I mentioned in part 1, which I'm very excited to finish them and start my real journey from that horrible and scummy level. Thank you for watching and see you next time.